The kitchen light gave off a faint hum, a sound I only seemed to notice whenever Martha wasn't speaking. It was Thursday evening, the kind of night that usually disappeared into the routine of an ordinary marriage, but this one felt different. The air was thick with a tension I couldn't quite explain. I stood by the stove as steam rose from a pot of pasta, warming my face when she walked into the kitchen. She didn't say hello. She didn't even glance at the dinner I had spent the last 40 minutes making. Instead, she dropped her keys onto the marble island with a sharp clink and adjusted the strap of her leather bag. "I'm going to the coast this weekend," she said in a flat voice that left no room for discussion. I paused, the wooden spoon frozen halfway through a stir. "The coast? Our insurance premiums are due on Monday, and I thought this weekend we were finally going to fix the leak in the spare bedroom." Martha never lifted her eyes from her phone. Her fingers moved quickly across the screen while a small private smile rested on her lips, a smile she hadn't shared with me in well over a year. "Nicole found a last-minute deal at that resort we always liked," she replied. "I need a break, Damien. Work is exhausting, and honestly, so is this house." The words hurt, but it was the effortless way she dismissed everything that cut the deepest. "We can't afford a getaway right now," I answered, doing my best to keep the frustration out of my voice. We agreed to stick to a budget. For the first time, she looked directly at me. There was no warmth in her expression, only cold impatience. Before she could respond, the phone resting on the counter buzzed. It wasn't mine. It was hers. She had left it there while grabbing a glass of water, and the screen flashed with a call from Nicole. As she picked it up, she casually pressed the speaker button, almost as if she wanted me to hear every word. "Tell him you're coming no matter how much he complains." Nicole laughed through the speaker, followed by another mocking chuckle. Martha didn't seem embarrassed. She didn't apologize for her friend's disrespect or even switch off the speaker. She simply looked at me, silently daring me to react. "If you don't like how I spend my time or my money, Damien," she said calmly, "then divorce me." She delivered the sentence with chilling precision, as though she were reading instructions from a manual. Nicole laughed again, the sound scraping across my nerves like shattered glass. Martha slowly sipped her water without taking her eyes off me. She expected the same response she always got. She expected me to argue, to plead, to explain why we needed to fix things together. Eventually, she expected me to apologize for another fight she had started. But standing there beneath the quiet hum of the kitchen light, something inside me changed. It wasn't anger. It wasn't rage. It was silence. The crushing weight I had carried for years, the desperate need to keep our marriage alive, suddenly disappeared. "All right," I said quietly. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't slam the spoon against the counter. I simply turned back to the stove and switched off the burner. Martha blinked. For a brief moment, the confidence on her face cracked before she covered it with a careless shrug. "Good," she muttered as she picked up her bag. "I'll be home late Sunday. Don't turn this into a big deal." She walked out, leaving behind the lingering scent of expensive perfume and the echo of the ultimatum she believed would control me. I never touched the pasta. Long after she went to bed, I sat alone in the living room with a notebook on my lap, filling page after page with the cold mathematics of a life that was quietly coming apart. I reviewed our bank statements, the joint account she had treated like her personal spending fund, and the lease I had signed believing we were building a future together. By 3 o'clock in the morning, I had opened a new bank account. By 4 o'clock, I had redirected my paycheck. The next morning, I watched her leave. She rolled her suitcase toward the door, dressed for a vacation I had never been invited to, carrying herself with the confidence of someone who believed she had already won. "Try not to mope all weekend," she said without looking back before the door clicked shut. The moment she was gone, the apartment felt strangely bigger. That morning, I sat across from Lena Hayes, a divorce attorney known for handling difficult separations with remarkable precision. I told her everything. The lack of partnership, the financial disrespect, and the ultimatum that had finally ended my hesitation. Lena listened quietly. "You sure?" she asked, her pen resting above a legal pad. I looked down at the wedding ring on my finger. It no longer felt like a symbol of love. It felt like a chain. "I've never been more certain," I answered. The rest of the weekend became a series of careful, deliberate steps. I gathered every document Lena requested. I photographed every room in the apartment. I called my friend Henry, who asked me one simple question. Would you let a complete stranger speak to you the way Martha does? The answer came instantly. No. And with that answer, the last piece of guilt disappeared. Martha returned Sunday evening looking refreshed, glowing, and completely unaware that her life had already changed. She dropped her suitcase and immediately began talking about the resort, the parties, the people she had met, and how wonderful the weekend had been. I remained seated on the sofa. The separation papers rested inside a folder on the coffee table. Eventually, she noticed it. "What's this?" she asked quietly. "Another budget?" "No," I replied. "It's the divorce you asked for." Silence filled the apartment. She opened the folder, turning each page faster than the last as panic slowly replaced confidence. "You're serious?" she whispered. "Over one weekend?" "No, Martha," I answered calmly. "Because you finally showed me exactly how little you value me. And you're right, I don't like it." Her expression twisted, not from heartbreak, but from the realization that she had completely lost her control over me. She quickly tried to explain. She mentioned a co-worker named Julian who had been on the trip, insisting he was only a friend, someone who listened when I supposedly didn't. Hearing that confession didn't hurt. It only confirmed I was making the right decision. She finally realized that the man who once begged for her attention no longer existed. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I didn't give her the emotional reaction she had expected. Instead, I quietly handed her a pen. With trembling hands, she signed the papers, her confidence collapsing beneath the weight of consequences she never believed she would face. 2 days later, she was gone. The apartment is quiet now, but it no longer feels lonely. Instead, it is filled with a peace I haven't experienced in years. She believed her ultimatum was a weapon that would keep me under her control. She never realized it was actually the key that unlocked the cage I had been trapped inside. Now the door is finally closed, and for the first time in a very long time, I truly feel at home.